Hello and welcome back to the Motivating Force. Happy to have everybody returning with us here on this beautiful Monday morning. Joining me as always, we have host Sway, an aspiring Marine Corps officer who's finishing up ROTC and his bachelor's in the criminal justice field. And myself, Justin, a motivational speaker who's always more than excited to share all of our wonderful ideas and topics with you guys. Today, we're going to be talking about something a little simple. It's going to be quick and easy for you guys, just trying to get some good old school motivation inside everybody's body today, get that blood heated up. Let's get moving, let's get rolling.
I like it. Let's go.
We're going to be talking about envisioning your future now. So not only are we going to be envisioning it, we're going to be acting towards it now. And this was something that was very briefly mentioned in a different podcast I was listening to by Rob Dial. Everybody definitely go check him out if you want some good old school feel good motivation. He's definitely a really good guy for that. I'll have a link down below to some of his stuff there so you can check him out. And he really mentioned this kind of in passing on his episode, which it really stuck with me, it really hit me. And I was like, oh, somebody needs to go deeper on that.
Yeah.
That idea.
Yeah, because he's really good at like getting you in that right headspace. But like you really need to dig deeper into it so then you can really appreciate it.
Definitely. So that's what we're going to be doing today. The main point on this that I kind of came to understand was like, man, there are so many things that I could be doing better in my day-to-day life based off of that future I have envisioned for myself. Okay? So the first step here is like, you know, we do always want to envision our future and see where things are going and whatnot. And we think that through hard work and perseverance, it's going to like get us there.
Yeah.
Right? But in reality, all that hard work and perseverance is going to do for you is make you really good at working hard. What type of characteristics and qualities do we need to adapt or to adopt, I should say, into our portfolio here of ourselves into becoming more of like that desirable person that we want to be?
I mean, I think like when you're taking the topic that we're talking about, right? And you bring up the points of hard work and determination, you really have to use that just as the backup push towards, like you said, envisioning your future. So you have to have an end goal in mind for the hard work and determination to actually be effective correctly. Because if you're just, like you said, if you're just hardworking and you're determined all the time, all you're going to be good at is just that. You have no end goal driving you there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point to it. You know, we do have a good foundation, a good push forward, good motivation, things like that. We get a lot of that through that hard work. Obviously, we need that. But I've been seeing this more so in like being up at the shop, you know, working with my dad, working on cars and whatnot. And the customers that come in, we have, especially right now, we have a lot of people coming through from the timeshares in the area and whatnot. So it's always a bunch of older retired people. And you can tell the difference between the people who are retired and are happy and the ones that aren't. You know, and a lot of times the ones that aren't are the guys that did, you know, trade jobs for a living, just worked hard, worked with their hands all the time, and now they're retired and they kind of sit around or, you know, they go on vacationing. Obviously, they're coming down to Florida all the time now doing their timeshare stuff. And it's like, man, they never really built any other qualities. Like all they thought they were good for is just being able to work hard, produce things for the world. And then when they're done with that, they're kind of just done, you know?
I mean, that also plays into like society, you know, but that can also be affected by the people having that like workaholic syndrome that we were talking about and how that burns you out quick. But when you're living your entire life as a workaholic and you're just going nonstop, you really don't have time to envision your future. You don't have time to think of what do I need to set up now so then when I get to that end goal or the end of the line when I am retired and I can't continue working this much, what am I going to have to feel like that was all worth it?
And that's where I think a lot of the problem is we see, especially now, like being younger or whatnot, and these kids out there that are trying to get stuff done and have these great aspirations, which is great to have, but it almost seems like there's like a transformation moment where you're going to just have this major transformation and just wake up one day, this this millionaire, this successful person. There's gonna magically be, 10 suits in your closet and a maid in the kitchen or something, and it's like, it doesn't work like that. It's not how it happens.
Yeah.
So if you're not mentally preparing yourself or working towards all these goals.
Yeah, specific goals, because if you're just working hard in a dead-end job, you're not really doing much. You're just working hard. But when we're telling people to, like, you have to throw all your effort and energy into things, it has to be towards specific goals. It can't just be, oh, I just need to make that paycheck, because then you're just going to continue to fall into that cycle. Then by the time you realize it's too late.
Yeah, and it's definitely a shame because, even if it's not per se the dead end job, like, you're successful, you're getting your stuff done, you're able to retire even at an early age. Like you were saying before, what did you set yourself up for? Just to have the money and sit around? No, because the only thing you set yourself up for was working hard. You didn't build these extra habits that come with those things. And that's why there's always, a lot of power in like the education side of it when people do talk about becoming the millionaire, because it's kind of the staple thing to do, right? And they talk about the habits, like what you don't see. And like those are the things you need to work on. And I think the main point that I'm going to get in here with you guys today is really talking about that, because
you're talking about like the habits off the job. Like, what is the typical millionaire that you're trying to aspire to be going to do during the hours that he's not breaking his back, working, throwing all of his effort and energy into things? Like, what are those habits that, you need to be resting? Like those specific things.
Yeah, and like what produces that, being that visionary, being on the creative side of things, or just working hard and getting after it. What's done in the background for that? A lot of that's not talked about today. And it's like they say with the, how many books a year does the average millionaire read? And then you sit here and you look up how to become a millionaire, and they'll tell you, oh yeah, you should read books. Until you see how many books a millionaire actually reads, and it's like, no, you don't need to like sit around and read books for fun. Like that is a part of your life. You'd see that as part of a job, like expanding your knowledge, gaining that education. And the main drive for this is finding those small details in how you envision your future going. And take a day to sit down and really think about it. And of course, we always think about, being well off, working your own schedule, not having to worry about money. And like, these are all great things to have. But when you're picturing that, what comes with that? What comes with that you can start doing tomorrow? Do you want to wake up and have an unhindered morning routine? Is that part of your successful future? Not having to wake up and being stressed out and whatnot. There's things you can do now to have that part of that fantastic future you're picturing. There's ways you can have some of those luxuries now.
Yeah, without having to wait until you are this person that owns their own business and has all these other stresses. You can do it with that quote unquote dead end job that you have now.
Right.
It's those little habits. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like with the reading thing, if you want to read more and you see like, meditation and just different forms of relaxing, being part of that successful envisionment of your future. There's so many free things in your future that you're waiting on.
Yeah.
And my question is why? What's holding you back from doing those things now? They're not going to cost you anything. I think a bigger part of that is a very important characteristic that all millionaires have. Mm-hmm. And that is that self-discipline, that self-drive. Because even as your own business owner, being successful, doing, even if you don't have a brick and mortar store, right? You still manage on a schedule. You still have this time frame that you work with. And it's like, we see the 9-to-5 as, oh, I'm working this because my boss is telling me to.
Yeah.
Whereas people who are their own boss still have their life set up in that way, because it's the structure that you need that's going to help you create that type of success for yourself.
Yeah, I was going to say that having that really shows the leadership qualities in certain individuals, because it, if anything, it highlights it. It amplifies the leadership qualities within yourself, because you don't even have to have people that work for you. Like, it could solely be just you, but that's the thing. It's just you. There's nobody that's going to come to you and be like, hey, this is the deadline. You need to do this by then. Or I need you to do these 5 things. Because if you don't have the leadership quality to manage yourself, to get up in the morning to actually start working on those goals, like you're not going to do anything. You're just going to be stuck in that rut because you're not implementing that habit of being self-disciplined.
What do you do now when you don't meet your deadlines that you set for yourself? Or like if you have goals, like, you know, my biggest thing, and you know, of course I've fallen victim to this, you know, I think we all have, and it's, you know, I wanted to be able to wake up earlier because I did see part of having that, like, you know, that unhinged morning routine, nobody around to bother me, nothing going on. I can wake up, set my day right, get in my own mind space, and just set forth what I need to do.
Well, you also don't feel rushed. When you wake up halfway through the day, you like, oh, I missed half. The sun was up half the time I was asleep. So, like, I need to get things done now. You're going to feel rushed. You're going to feel, like, tight. Your schedule's just, you gotta get out of that mindset. So waking up earlier, even if you work night shifts, just waking up a little bit earlier is going to help you feel, like, you know, calmer about the day and that schedule ahead of you.
Yeah, because you're already starting off on a easier pace, you know. But a lot of it was like, you know, I was trying to do, you know, normally my typical routine, I'm waking up at 7:30 in the morning. So I was like, you know, let's wake up at like 7. Okay. And I started doing okay with that. So I was like, you know what? Start waking up at 6. That right there was a bad move. But, you know, I'm just, as everybody knows, everybody that knows me, I'm not a morning person at all. Yeah. Like I'd rather be up all night. Like, I'm a night owl for sure, but I wanted to do that so that way I could get my day started off right, be able to sit down, have coffee, have a real breakfast, clear my mind, get ready to go to work. And what I learned was when I woke up at 6 in the morning and I decided to roll over and go back to sleep, nobody yelled at me for it. So then what happened a month later? I was back to waking up at 7.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's all about finding your boundaries as well. Like, you can't overextend to trying to wake up too early or trying to implement habits that are just way too out of your comfort level, because then you're going to resent that, or you're not going to appreciate it the way if it was just a little step back or casual steps instead of taking bigger chunks and, you know, not liking it.
Yeah, but I still feel like the majority of the issue, at least for me, was like that self-discipline that we're talking about, you know? And that was really the problem, was nobody's going to punish me for not doing that. I'm not late for work. I'm not missing my coffee. I'm not missing my breakfast. Maybe it's not the meal I want. I can't sit down and read a chapter in the morning, you know?
Oh, but what you're saying is you should be the person that's getting on you for
going
I should
back be yelling
sleep.
At myself for going back to sleep. But it's little things like that. Like, that's just an example of different things in your life that, you know, when you envision that future for yourself and you see, you know, everything going perfectly for yourself, you're going to have these goals that are there that you kind of see in like that day-to-day life that you'll be living. Establish those habits now. Build them up now. So that way when that success does come to you, because if you're here listening to us on the show, you're going to be successful. It's going to happen. You're already in the right mind space. You're getting out there. You're getting educated. You're moving forward in the world. You're getting things done. Build those habits early. So that way you don't have to wait until you're just being a hard worker. And then when all that money's there and you're able to transition into that perfect dream life, you're not even going to recognize when you can transition because you don't have these habits in place now. You don't realize what you could be doing now, because there is no major transformation moment when it comes to envisioning that perfect future for yourself. Like I said, you're not going to wake up with all those suits in your closet one day. So how do you get there? As that money comes, as your schedule opens up, as more opportunities present themselves to you, you need to be able to already have those characteristics within yourself to be able to recognize those things and make those pushes forward and just start completing that picture, you know, that puzzle. Start laying the pieces now, so that way when those things come that you don't have, they just fit right in.
Really needs to not take this for granted, because these are things that you tend to overlook. Like I said, when you don't have those people barking at you or that boss telling you what to do all the time, you need to learn this on your own. And it does seem easy, but it's pretty hard when you don't have those characteristics to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just as simple as waking up early for me was enough of a challenge, you know?
Yeah. But also, like we're going to be talking about on Wednesday is appreciating challenges and, really finding the motivation and appreciation for being in that headspace to begin with. Because a lot of them, when you have these short-term goals, that's to get you there, but you need to find the appreciation for what they do for your self-worth, for your confidence and all that in order to continue to grow.
Yeah, I think Wednesday's episode is going to be perfect kind of like completion of this episode. It's like today. Yeah, today we're hitting on those focusing on those finer details, the things you can accomplish now to paint that picture. And then Wednesday we'll be talking about the smaller rewards that you don't think about. It's going to go great. It's going to help paint a really good picture for everybody and understanding really what it means to actively work towards the better future. Because working towards that better future, it is about a lot more than just the paycheck. And at the same time, it is a lot more than just working on self-discovery. It's an accumulation of every aspect of your life put together. The whole thing, it'll just fall apart if you're lacking in one area or another. Continue to think about that, work on the smaller details, knock them out early, get them done, build those habits, get that structure, and continue grinding. Get out there, get after it.
I mean, and when you think about it, other ways that people can start, being that person that they want to envision themselves as in the future, or to get to certain places where you can be implementing all these different aspects and characteristics that you want to have, is just to start, like we've had on numerous episodes before, is finding those things that you're interested in to begin with. If you're not, let's say, motivated enough to start your own business, but you want to have self-discipline for the job that you have, find little things about it that really interest you and find that education in the books that you were talking about. Just always reading, always looking up more information about, let's say, your job or your trade, your skills that you have, the things that you already are interested in, so then you can carry that into the work that you're providing for your company or somebody else's company. Because then you're going to be more motivated to do that education, do the additional steps required to finding self-discipline. Because if it's just for some other job that you kind of don't really care about, you're not going to want to continue the growth and knowledge in that field. But if it's something that you really do appreciate, or if it's just a little piece of that you do appreciate, you're going to want to push yourself more to seek out that growth.
Yeah, that's a great point, because again, that's one of those habits, to be able to find appreciation in those smaller things and finding the little things that actually mean something to you and expanding on them. Because, and that's kind of the exercise I'm kind of suggesting everybody do right now, is find those smaller details that you appreciate or that you're going to appreciate in the future. And why can't you work on them now? Just start moving forward with it. Start appreciating a lot of the smaller things in life, even if it's, professionally or personally. On top of it too, right? We can envision our future all we want, but, none of us are promised tomorrow. So how much sacrifice are you really making right now towards that future? How much are you giving up? And at the same time, if you're just working on the professional end of it and not on the personal end of it, you're going to have a really rough time when you do get there. And if you start working on those smaller things now, finding the appreciation in those little habits that you can create for yourself, you'll be happier now and in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, because finding that appreciation for the little things really goes a long way. And, we're not calling you guys little things, but what we do appreciate is all of you. And we do appreciate the little things, as in the likes, the comments, the subscriptions to the pages. You can share these episodes with all your friends and family. If you have coworkers or employees that seem to have a little bit less of a drive, share this page with them, share this episode with them. Let's see if we can kind of tweak up that workforce for you, get that positive mental attitude in the group, get everybody moving towards successful paths in their lives so they're not negative all the time and bringing everybody down. You can check out all of our social medias. We have Facebook and Parler at The Motivating Force. We have Instagram at Podcast TMF. All of our videos come out Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 a.m. EST.
And until next time, go on and get